Hi, it's Chey here, and today I will be talking about accessibility in Dead by Daylight. Every accessibility issue I will be bringing up, I will do my best to bring up a solution for it. I don't want this video to come off as me complaining or trying to find things wrong with this game. I love Dead by Daylight, and I want it to be enjoyed by as many people as possible. I will discuss accessibility on the survivor and killer side. I'm open to discussing the changes and issues I present, but please be respectful and do not insult those who suffer from accessibility issues. Thank you for watching, and I would love to hear feedback and maybe other suggestions to help with accessibility. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to this. Killers. Plague. I'm sure you've heard a lot of people mention having issues facing Plague. Some of these people suffer from emetophobia. I did my best trying to pronounce that. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. Which is an extreme fear of vomiting or seeing vomit. I'm not someone who suffers from this myself, but I still have to play against Plague completely muted because the sound of survivors vomiting makes me feel sick, and it's honestly just very unbearable for me. Playing completely muted makes me miss when Plague gets her power, it makes skill checks a bit harder to hit, and it just kind of makes me feel like a bad teammate, since audio is so important in this game. I know that other people sometimes have to DC on site or AFK and not play the match against Plague. My proposed solutions for accessibility when facing Plague, and maybe even playing as her. 1. A toggleable option to turn off the vomiting noises from survivors. 2. A toggleable option to change the color of vomit to something other than green. 3. A toggleable option for a visual cue when Plague gets her power. There are a decent amount of hard of hearing players in this game, and I believe having the option for certain visual cues to be toggleable could be extremely helpful along with these other changes I'm proposing. Number 2. Dredge. When Dredge was first released, a lot of players made comments about the screams in Nightfall triggering their PTSD. I personally do not struggle with PTSD, but I have to play against Dredge completely muted, as the screams are too loud and really bother me to the point of causing migraines. Dredge doesn't have a Terradius during Nightfall, so using the visual Terradius doesn't help as much here as it does with Plague. My solution for Dredge is to make the screams less loud and piercing during Nightfall, or maybe replace it with a different type of audio. Number 3. The Doctor. Doctor can cause issues for quite a few reasons. The static on the side of the screen when you are in madness can cause issues for those with photosensitivity or epilepsy. Same with the flashes of his power. Doctor is once again a killer I usually have to play against muted to avoid migraines, headaches, and feeling sick. Doctor is a bit harder to talk about for accessibility because the intention of his power is to overwhelm you. However, there is a decent part of the community who are vocal about struggling to be able to face the Doctor due to accessibility issues. Not because he's overpowered or anything like that. A lot of people do have to DC, go next, or play muted. My proposed solutions, but I'm 100% willing to hear other propositions because this is the one I'm struggling with the most, is 1. Remove the static on the sides of the screen or make it a toggleable option. 2. Slightly reduce the overall sound effects of madness on survivors. It can just be super overwhelming. I understand that's the intention, but it's to the point where a lot of people struggle to face him. And 3. Have a toggleable option to mute survivor screams. This can go in a different category. It doesn't have to be with Doctor alone, but I feel like it's important to mention it here due to the nature of Doctor's power. But I think this could help a lot. There are many players who play with mute focus on and alt tab, or whenever they are going to scream on hook. There's certain situations where you don't have a chance to do that, like when you're in chase of the Doctor. Let's say there's like Face of Darkness, things like that, and the screams can be pretty overwhelming and very piercing and loud. Colorblindness. Dead by Daylight introduced colorblind settings a few years ago. However, a lot of people state how the colorblind options are lacking and don't help much, if at all. A lot of people use reshade or filters to try to adjust for their colorblindness. However, not every platform can do this, and in my opinion, you shouldn't have to rely on a third-party program to deal with accessibility. My proposed solution is to have a way to change colors of auras and scratch marks in the game. If you play Valorant, you can adjust the highlight of the enemy team. I was kind of thinking of something along those lines where you can choose whichever color works best for you. Auras and scratch marks are so important in this game, and it's unfortunate there isn't a good way to change them at the moment. I think this could be a big step in the right direction for accessibility. Blinds. The color of blinds in this game can be tough for those who are photosensitive. Some players have to play only with Lightborn on when they play killer to avoid issues. This also doesn't help on the survivor point of view because you can get flashbanged by your teammates, and Hex 2 can play as a perk that can blind you as well when you stun the killer. I suggest adding an option to change the color of the blind screen. If you are able to choose a color that works for you, that could avoid issues with blinds. Motion sickness. I'm someone who has struggled with motion sickness my whole life. Unfortunately, this does cause issues in video games. For the most part, I can avoid a lot of the issues I have with motion sickness in Dead by Daylight, but sometimes it's unavoidable or out of my control. For example, a solo queue survivor is healing me and the killer comes along, so they use a syringe and a blinded serum on me. And the blinded serum changes my FOV, which makes me extremely motion sick. That's out of my control and I have no way to avoid it or know it's coming until it's too late. Other things that affect motion sickness for me, Vecna's fly ability. I can't really play as him due to that. Chucky, when you change your FOV at all in the settings and then hook a survivor, your screen kind of pans out in this weird motion that makes me feel sick. Another thing with Chucky, when breaking pellets, it slightly moves like your camera in a way that makes me feel sick. Getting uncaged from Pyramid Head's cages causes a weird FOV, which I always have to look away from if I remember, otherwise I feel sick. Viewing the in-game store has a lot of zooming in and out and in a like panning motion that also can cause motion sickness for me. Selecting killers with different heights in the lobbies can cause it to zoom in and out as well. The list goes on and on. I think a good option to this would be a toggleable option to make it so that my FOV can never be changed. Never. That would solve almost any motion sickness issues I have personally. Overall changes. Some of these I suggested above, but I will be time skipping this video, so I'll re-include them here in case people are jumping around the video to certain parts that pertain more to them than others. 1. A toggleable option to mute survivor screams. 2. Toggleable audio cues for survivor and killer. A lot of players are hard of hearing. Adding toggleable options to visually see if a gen is being worked on near you, or if play gets repowered, for example, are small things that can make a big difference for a lot of people in this community. I also see this on DVD Mobile, and this is also in other games such as Fortnite. 3. Toggleable arachnophobia option to hide spider charms and spiders on cosmetics. Almost every horror game has arachnophobia settings at this point. I hope to see this in the future. I know there are more topics to talk about regarding accessibility, but I found these to be the ones that are talked about the most online and within my community. Thank you for listening, and I'd love to hear feedback or other suggestions regarding accessibility.
Oh,
I hit that! Oh! Nod. And that's how we do it. Oh, he's stalking someone.
yeah, get
Wait,
that
no,
person.
stop! You guys! No! Oh my God.
Get him.
Fuck you!
I choose you, Myers.
You a bitch! You a bitch!
Wait, Chey, where are you? Where are you?
Yeah.
No, no.
Chey, where are you?
Got it right.
I got you. Whoa, wait. Smile.